Good afternoon. We are so excited to talk about the Upskill Vermont career workshops today, and we're so happy that you're taking a few minutes out of your busy day to learn about these workshops. So welcome to the University of Vermont Continuing in Distance Education webinar today. So we're going to do quick introductions. We're going to just make sure everybody knows who's here. We're going to explore the Career Path for You workshop. We're going to learn from Heather Palow more about her workshop, and we're also going to learn from Sue Schlom, Getting the Job You Want workshop, overview, logistics, everything that you hopefully can want to know about that workshop. We're going to go over just the workshop dates, the registration process to make sure that you can get into the workshop that you're looking for. And also, I'm just going to go over very briefly just a glimpse of some of the different educational offerings in our Center for Leadership and Innovation. And we will have plenty of time for your questions today. So just a few quick logistics. I put into the chat box that is where you want to ask questions today. So please do throughout the presentation. I will do my best to keep an eye on those questions and ask our two presenters throughout the presentation. And of course, we'll always have time at the end if there's any leftover questions. We are recording this session. We will share the recording out to everyone who is RSVP today. And also wanted to make sure that there's two links that are up as well. Charlie is with us. He is one of our enrollment coaches at UVM Continuing in Distance Education. He'll be in the background answering any questions, and Charlie put up the links to the two programs that we're talking about today. So welcome, everyone. I did also want to just share, before we get into introductions, that we're talking about the Upskill Vermont career workshops today. And many of you may have applied, raised your hand, got on the waiting list, tried to get some of that funding that was from the Upskill Vermont grant funding that was from the state grant. Oh my goodness, we would have never anticipated in 2 days that Vermonters would have claimed all of the grant funding. So we are so excited at the opportunities that Vermonters have raised their hands for, and we're really excited at the opportunity that could be in the future for you as well. So stay tuned, make sure you're on the Upskill Vermont email list, because as funding becomes open, as seats become open, we're going to go right back out to that waiting list and make sure that you are the first to know if there's opportunities as well. And what we do have opportunities in that are open and free to Vermonters, there's a small fee if you're out of state, we'll talk about that in just a minute, are our career workshops that we're going to talk about today. So super excited to share this opportunity with you. My name is Nicole Willier-Fenton. I work in our Continuing in Distance Education department at UVM. And Heather Palow is with us. She advises students in our Master of Public Health program, and she is an instructor and a career development coach, and she has been working with students on their career path for over 20 years. We're so happy to have Heather here as well. And Sue Schlom has also been working with students on their career path, and she has a unique perspective. She is also a recruiter, so she knows exactly what those companies are looking for and will help you get to where you want to go. Okay, let's dive in. As I said, please ask questions throughout. This is not a pre-recorded session. We are recording this, Arlene, and we will share it with everybody. So we're recording the session, but this is live right now. You're with us live. So turning over to Heather. Heather, let's start with your workshop. Your workshop is called Exploring the Career Path for You. Walk us through, what are students going to learn in your workshop?
Thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you, Nicole. As you can tell, Sue and I are so very excited. Nicole's so excited. We're all happy to share with you about our career, about our courses. Exploring the career path for you is all about the idea that we are going to help you think about your career interests while learning how to successfully map out your next career steps. I oftentimes think about a career as something that is constantly evolving, and no matter where you plan on changing your career to, or how quickly you want to leave your current job, having a plan will help you smoothly explore your current skills and abilities and how they can be transferred to a new career opportunity. As you gain career clarity and direction related to your future, we want to help you explore the career path for you. Can you hit the next slide, Nicole?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, right, the concept is amazing. Let's talk about how you get down into the details and what the course format is like for people.
Sure. In this course, all of the course materials are available online, and you can access the content each week at your own pace. There'll be discussion board questions and activities that you'll share with your fellow students and turn into me, where I'll give you feedback and support. You'll not need to order any additional textbooks or supplies for the class, but you will need access to a computer with internet so that you can stream the videos so you can see the content and submit your assignments. Throughout your career exploration, our goal is for you to create an individualized career map with action steps for your success. And sometimes your career is going to look like starting a small business. Sometimes your career is going to look like completely changing your career. And sometimes it's going to look like a pivot. But throughout that, you'll create action steps, you'll create a career map, and you'll look through it and decide who can support you in those steps. Each person's career is unique, and your education and career steps may look completely different from the next person in the class. But together, we'll share resources and talk about ways we can find meaningful careers and forward momentum as we explore our different options. Nicole's already kind of switched over to the slide that shares what we're going to do in each of the classes. Identifying your ideal career and gaining an understanding of why it's your ideal career and why it's ideal for you right now is often one of the most challenging tasks for any professional. It can feel overwhelming, but when we break it down into manageable action steps, finding the right career can feel liberating and motivating as you navigate life and determine what's best for you. And so in our first class, we'll scan the world of work and explore your interests, skills, values, motivations, and how these relate to influencing your career decisions. And then in our second class, we'll start defining why we work and what we want to do to experience growth and fulfillment in our careers. And we start identifying skills from our past jobs, education, trainings that might apply to new opportunities and ways we can start mapping out the future that you want. Can you switch to the next slide, Nicole?
And one of the things that I want,
yeah,
Heather, before we go on to the next, I want folks listening to be thinking about, is this the right workshop for you? Are you at this point that this is what you need to be doing? Because Sue's workshop is a little bit different, and we're going to see and contrast those differences. But be thinking about that as you're listening to Heather and you're listening to Sue. Is this the point that you're at in your career exploration? And let's keep going, Heather. Let's talk about week 3 and week 4.
For week 3, we're thinking about building your career plan a step or two at a time, and the process often relies on the contributions and supports of others. All the people we meet and engage with and converse with along our career path help us figure out our career journey. And your career change has a greater chance of success when you think about those people who are supporting you. So in class 3, we're going to identify people who can be thought of as our career team. And so we're going to think through who else is available to support our success. And then in class 4, we take a look at your career map and see what clarity has been gained and action steps you're ready to take as you navigate that career change, start that small business, move your side hustle to being something full-time. All of those things are huge steps and can be feeling kind of monumental. But these are pivot points in your career that can change your life. And so we want to look at that and think about it and decide what else is what else do we add? Do we add it right now? Do we add it in 6 months? Do we need education opportunities to help us feel supported in our career change? All of those things are stuff that we look at in class 4. I oftentimes think about career changes as self-care. It's a chance for you to find out if this career path is right, or maybe the next career path is right for you. And so we'll explore all of that and decide what's next and what's right for you as we look at it through this course.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heather. Heather, we do have a question. And Chara, I want to go back to the slide just a few minutes ago. The question is, what time are the workshops? And Sue's is a little bit different than Heather's. We'll hear from that in a minute. But Heather, just clarify again that there's no set time for your workshop. Just walk our viewers through just this information one more time.
Yep. My course is designed to be self-paced. So the course was open on Monday, and you have all the way through till the following Monday to work on that course information. And I do offer feedback regularly and on the assignments and on the discussion board. We want the students to engage with each other. So you'll be looking at each other's discussion board posts and commenting and sharing resources with each other. So, but it's self-paced because everybody's career path is different. So we want you to look through the information. We also put it in weekly formats so that you're not feeling the overwhelm of it all. You're taking it 1 week at a time and helping you to build that career map for you over a month's time frame. So you can read the information, look at the videos, look at some of the TED Talks and things that were supporting the information that you're absorbing and understanding. So my course is self-paced.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for that question as well. So let's go back here. Okay, so now, thank you, Heather, and stand by because I know that we'll have more questions for you. So let's turn over to Sue. Sue, you have the unique perspective of also not just being an instructor and a career advisor, but being a recruiter. So your input is so valuable in salary negotiations and getting a recruiter to pay attention to you. You know, I hear you a lot saying, it's not you, the process has changed. So walk us through your course about getting the job you want.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm Sue Schlom. I started my recruiting career about 20 years ago as a recruiting manager with PepsiCo's, Quaker Tropicana, and Gatorade businesses in Chicago, and also worked with Wrigley before moving to Vermont about 10 years ago. And since I've been in Vermont, I've worked with Seventh Generation, Darn Tough, Keurig, and National Life, among others. So what I bring to the table is not the traditional career advising advice, but it's more about the nuts and bolts of how do you get the job you want. Finding a job is hard. And if you are applying for roles and not gaining traction, you're not hearing back from the companies, or you're interviewing and not converting to offer, then this is the course for you.
Because we've all seen in the last several years about the ghosting and people not responding, or you get farther and then all of a sudden they drop off and you start thinking, what am I doing wrong? So right. It sounds like Sue is a huge resource to guide you through that process. So we heard from Heather that hers is self-paced. Sue, your course is slightly different. Walk us through some of the logistics of your course.
Now, my course can be self-paced, but I also offer a 1 hour a week live class. So like Heather's, both classes open on August 16th, and that's a Monday. On Wednesday, August 18th, I start the live classes from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the idea is to hop on Mondays, check out the assignments, do some of the homeworks, join the live class, which will reinforce the homeworks, and then you can go back and complete or resubmit anything that's not finished. My class, like Heather's, we both estimate about 3 to 5 hours a week of assignment time from students. I'm going to have my live classes will be recorded. There'll be videos, short videos with important pieces of information. There'll be some outside expert testimonials, YouTube videos, TED Talks, and there'll be some readings. And most importantly, there will be the discussion boards that I'm hoping folks will participate in. But I also understand that some people may still be working and may not want to actively participate in a course where others may see that they're job seeking when they're still in their current role. So this course is very easy to take, and even if you don't participate in the discussion boards or in chats during the live classes,
it's a really good point.
You can still get all of the information you need and take the course to help you kind of move into your next role.
Great.
So
super good.
The first class, oh, thank you. The first class, we're going to talk about job search strategy and why you need one. And I think what happens with many folks applying for jobs is that they apply and apply and apply using a traditional resume and updating their cover letters, and then they start to not hear back or get rejected from job after job. And what happens is people will internalize that rejection, and it becomes kind of depressing and demotivating. And the idea behind this course is that it's not about you or your skills or your potential. It's just time to take a second look at your materials and how you're going to market. So the second class is about targeted resumes. And this is like the ultimate idea of getting through the applicant tracking system and into the recruiter and the hiring manager's hands. That as a recruiter, I know that I may receive 400 applicants for one job posting, and I may be working on 20 job postings at a time. So I look at each applicant for about 5 to 7 seconds, which is the average for recruiters, and I'm looking for specific skills and experiences that we talk about in the job description. So if you're sending what I consider a traditional or generic or autobiographical resume and spending a lot of time updating your cover letter, I'll let you in on a secret. Recruiters aren't reading cover letters at that point. They're really just looking at your resumes. So those are the first two classes. And then class 3 is tips and tactics for networking in person and using LinkedIn. So there's a lot of anxiety that goes into networking, and people think it's very inauthentic and fake. And it doesn't have to be. So we're going to talk about tips to make it easier to get out there and network. And we're also going to look at LinkedIn, not so much about how to update your own profile, but how to use the resources on LinkedIn to find contacts to connect with. And then the fourth class, which I think says class 2 on this, but the class 4 is going to be how to answer commonly asked interview questions like tell me about yourself, behavioral questions like tell me about a time when, and we're even going to touch on how to negotiate an offer. So that covers the 4 weeks for the Getting the Job You Want class workshop.
Yes, the ever popular tell me about yourself question.
That's right.
Like, what do you say to that? So Sue will walk you through recommendations as to how to answer that and some interview preparation as well. And so we see lots of questions coming in the chat box. And Charlie, thank you so much for jumping in and answering so many of those questions. I think Charlie has gotten all of them. And Richard did ask as well, and I know Charlie responded, but as additional funding, as seats open up in different programs, because everybody applied for the funding, the grant funding, and now we're making sure, and now we're converting those applications into registration. So, you know, maybe somebody applied for 2 classes and they decided only to take 1. So some of that funding will start to open up. We're going to go right back out to everybody who has raised their hand of interest in courses that we've listed and ask if they would like to register as well. So hang in with us, Richard, and other Vermonters with us today too, because we're really hoping that we can see more opportunities. And we're really hoping that this is not the only time that we'll get some appropriations from the state funding. So please do stay in touch with us. The other thing I wanted to share is over the next several months, we're also going to be offering kind of mini workshops on various different topics. Vermonters raised their hands for digital marketing certificates, for GIS, for cannabis science and cannabis plant and project management and and integrative health and wellness. So all of these different programs we're working to provide smaller bite-sized mini workshops for everybody who is interested as well. So again, stay tuned. Please keep in touch with us. Make sure you're on our Upskill email list because we are absolutely going to send more information to everybody. And so David asks, need online presence and self-marketing. So thanks. Any LinkedIn tutorials available looking for resources? I know both of you, Heather and Sue, work extensively in LinkedIn. So in each of your courses, and maybe Heather, let's go back since that is a base of also looking and seeing what careers you might want to look at too. How do both of you use LinkedIn and guide students through it? Heather, let's start with you.
Sure. We use LinkedIn in this course, and also as you think about careers, there is so many ways that LinkedIn is something that you can do a search on. You can search on people, you can search on places, you can search on careers, you can search on specific ideas around job titles, around if you are saying you're interested in certain demographics of people, working with the elderly, working with people who are young populations. There's all different ways that you can slice and dice the data that is in LinkedIn, and to try and figure out what type of career you're interested in, or what type of population you're interested in working with, or what even geographic locations you're interested in. And so I do a bit of tutorials. There's lots of resources on our blog that talks about LinkedIn and how you can consider it. There's even tons of resources around interviewing skills and negotiating skills and all sorts of things. And so LinkedIn is a very valuable resource. There's recruiters are constantly on LinkedIn looking for applicants, and so we most definitely discuss LinkedIn. In this course, we talk about it in reference to what type of careers are out there. Why does someone want to move from one type of career and pivot to another? There's so much around how do we present ourselves when we are going from one type of career to something completely different. There's transferable skills, looking at your soft skills, looking at some of the skills that you might not think are something you would change from one area to another, but are absolutely valid no matter what type of employee you're going to be, in what type of industry you're going to work in. So all of those things can be looked at in LinkedIn, and it's kind of fun even just to look at type of job you're interested in and look at who is in that job, and all across the nation or really across the world, to see, oh, if I wanted to be a project manager, what does that look like? And it's fascinating to see what levels of experience people have related to different job titles. So LinkedIn's a great resource for that.
Great. Sue, did you want to add anything else? I know you work quite a bit in LinkedIn and guide people.
I do. Yes, in my course, I refer back to some fantastic writing that Heather has done about LinkedIn. And when we think about targeted resumes, it's about understanding the needs of the employer and putting yourself forward as someone that can fulfill those needs. And it's the same thing about a LinkedIn profile. So I think there's going to be a lot of takeaways in terms of how to make a LinkedIn profile that is going to be found by recruiters for the thing you want to get found for, which is not necessarily the job you've been doing all along. So I think in both classes we touch on LinkedIn. While neither one focuses on individual profiles, there's lots of takeaways in terms of what you can do to update your own profile.
Both. So I want to just touch base on, Catherine is asking, I think Amy is as well. I want to just make very clear, these workshops, these career workshops, are outside of that grant funding that we receive from the state. So you can take these no matter if the funding is claimed in terms of the appropriations funding, the grant funding that we receive from the state. These are outside of that. These are separate. These are free offerings that we've created for Vermonters to advance in your careers, to skill up, to change careers, whatever you are looking to do. And then we also wanted to recognize, of course, that many people outside of the state might want to take advantage of these as well. And so those are offered at $99 for out-of-state people. I feel like a salesperson, but I want to make sure that you can take advantage of those as well. So it's fine if you were able to claim some of the grant funding and you're in a course, you can absolutely take these. You can take both of these, you can take one of these. And also there was a question again, if I missed the time of the two career workshops. Heather's is self-paced, so there's not really any time that you need to meet. The information in the workshop opens on Mondays. And Sue, would you just remind everybody again, I'll zip back over to your timing slide, but remind everybody again just the timing of some of the sessions that you have.
Yes, you will see access to the weekly module on Mondays. But we have a live class on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will be discussing the class topics and the learnings.
Great, thank you. And thank you again for asking that. And please do continue to ask questions if there's something that needs further clarification. And Rachel asks, is there a limit? Yes, there's a limit of 40 students per workshop per session. So, if we still have seats available in the August one. So if this is something you're looking forward to the next couple of weeks, you can sign up for the August, and you see the dates here on the screen as well. But if you're looking, and one thing you could do too, and I want to hear from Heather about the sequencing of these courses. One idea might be take Heather's course Exploring the Career first in the August session and then sign up for Sue's. And so you're really working on those negotiating and getting the job skills in September or October. So you can also sequence these courses to work together to your advantage. Heather, could you just expand on that? Is that a good idea that you're seeing? And maybe, how do people navigate which one is right for them?
Absolutely, Nicole. I think what it really comes down to is evaluating where you are in your career. Do you feel confident that you know what you're doing with your career and you just need those hard skills that Sue was mentioning? You really need to brush up on your resume. You need to brush up on what networking is in your specific career category. Do you feel like you're good and confident in what you're doing? You just need some of those expert skills that Sue's talking about. Then perhaps Sue's course is right. If you feel like you have 6 different ideas and you aren't sure where to go, you think you might be maybe considering a business, you might be considering completely different career category than what you're doing right now, then perhaps my course is better for you so that you can take the time to really look and really niche down into what you want to do, really think about your your community and who in your community can support you. Those are all things that you can think about in my course. And we purposely are offering this multiple times throughout the fall so that we can ask these questions and you can think through it. And I absolutely believe that students can take my course first, Sue's course first, and flop it, vice versa. You might start doing Sue's course and think through the resume and have this in mind for one career category. And then by the time you get through it and do those activities, you think, perhaps I really am looking at something else. And so you come to my course and go through the career categories and think through some of these activities related to something different. As careers go, you could do lots of different things in your life. It's just taking the time to consider your options. And so we offer this in multiple times so that people can look through this and think through it a bit. We also have lots of academic offerings. And so depending on where you are, whether you want credit offerings, non-credit offerings, these are things that might, coincide with timing of things. So, if you're thinking about the next 6 months of your life, the next year of your life, the next 5 years of your life, there's lots of different options. And so thinking through all of these different things is what so much of our nation is doing right now. And so trying to decide where you're at is so important. So there's lots of different ways we can support you in that effort.
Great. Thank you so much, Heather. And I just put up on the slide here just a few of the courses in the Center for Leadership and Innovation, because you may, with working with Heather and Sue, you may say, I really want to work in the craft beer industry. Yes. And so maybe there's some additional education to make that career transition. And so I just wanted to encourage everyone today to go look at the course offerings in the Center for Leadership and Innovation, because again, as Heather was saying, maybe this is a 6-month plan. This is exploring what I want to do. Do I need additional credentials to get there? And then coming back and maybe taking Sue's course when you're ready to start applying for things as well. So just keeping an eye on the offerings that everybody has and where your opportunities might be. So I just wanted to recognize that we're just about out of time, but I wanted to come back and thank you, Charlie, and thank you, David, for recognizing how awesome Charlie is. We greatly appreciate his assistance on a daily basis. So, but Sue, I wanted to circle back on Lynn's question. Lynn says, I've had difficulty dealing with a lack of networking recipients. I've not followed through to register for LinkedIn because I have not had any current jobs that kept me in touch with people. My former career ended 9 years ago, so I have no connection with past employers or peers. Basically, how do you get started? How do you enter the current world of self-promotion?
Wow, that's a great question, and a challenging one that it's kind of if you're stepping back into the job market, you're going to want people to be able to find you on LinkedIn. But if you think about the skills that you have from your career and the area that you want to work in, and then in the middle, there may be some stepping stones to take additional courses to upskill your skills so that you can get into the job you want. There's actually a lot more to talk about on a LinkedIn profile than you may be giving yourself credit for. So I would start there, and then I would start linking to people that neighbors, friends, folks from the community, folks from your college years. People are more than willing to keep in touch on LinkedIn. And what's great is that you have access now to 3 degrees of separation. So it's usually not the people closest to you that can be the most helpful for networking, because they know you and they're already kind of in a position to help you if they can. But everybody knows somebody that knows somebody, and you'd be amazed at how quickly you get connected into the Vermont community or the area that you're interested in working by simply doing a little bit of networking on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. And I think to that point that Sue's making, your volunteer experience, things you're interested in, there's so many things that I have no doubt that can go into your LinkedIn profile that really tells a round, really in-depth story as to what you've been doing over the past several years that add value to your resume as well. So I see Linda's maybe doing a follow-up question here, so I just want to give a few minutes to that. And yes, Arlene, we will absolutely be recording the sessions, the live sessions that Sue has. Those will be recorded. So if you can't make one, you can absolutely jump in to watch the recording. And as I mentioned, this session we're doing right now is also being recorded. So if there's been any audio issues, we'll send that out very soon. Just wanted to, give a plug again, saying we have so many things that we're planning and working on as part of Upskill Vermont. So I know, Charlie, I want to make sure maybe we put the link in. Oh, you did. You can email us at learn@uvm.edu. And on the upskillvermont.org page, there's kind of a big yellow. There's please sign up to receive more updates, because we're hoping that we will continue to talk to Vermonters about Upskill Vermont for many, many, many months to come, and many more opportunities for Vermonters as well. So let me just see. Thank you, Charlie, for putting that up. And Emma and Lynn are having a question. So the other thing too is, Sue, I know that you guide people on what to say, when the recruiter does call, when you finally make it past that gate. What are some tips? How do you advise people to react and to kind of get past that next layer? I feel like there's lots of gates that you need to get through to finally get a real interview.
Well, the big gate is getting a targeted resume submitted and potentially even networking. Vermont is a very small state, and for those of us here, people are very open to connecting and speaking with others. So the first step is really figuring out what type of job you want and upskilling for it and making sure you're interested and qualified for it. And the next job is creating a targeted resume based on the job description. And then, the recruiter's going to call and say something like, we've received your application. We'd be very interested in speaking with you. They're not calling to speak with you right then and there, so you don't need to worry that you're, at the supermarket or in your car. They will want to schedule a time for you. Now, in some companies, they'll actually want you to do a pre-recorded video interview, and we'll talk about video interviewing and what happens if there's a video interview before the live interview. We'll talk about live interviews and how to answer things like, tell me about yourself. For example, that doesn't mean tell me everything about you. It really means tell me about your skills and experience that are relevant to this job. So we're going to learn techniques for preparing answers to those types of questions, and also the questions that require stories, the behavioral questions like tell me about a time when XYZ. We're going to learn about the STAR interview method, and that is a technique for preparing your answers ahead of time so that an interview isn't so nerve-wracking, because we can never predict everything that you might get asked in an interview. But if you get off to a good start and are prepared for some of the early questions, those zingers will be much easier.
Great. Thank you. And Lynn, just want to recognize what you've been saying in there. And I think that Michael said the same thing, that he was told yesterday, that overqualified. So I think do both of these workshops. Start with Heather's and then move on to Sue's. You know, if August 16th works for you, sign up for Heather's and then maybe put your name in for Sue's for the September timeframe, because I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this. And you're so actively looking for help. So we're here to hopefully help you through this process. And so I don't know if we do, well, Sue will guide you and do some one-on-one with you as well. So I think that would be our best recommendation to sign up for both of these. I did want to come back because Charlie had grabbed one more question. Will you address how to get back into the workforce after a gap, in which jobs may be flexible and family friendly in your workshops, like finding the jobs that could still be flexible? Not sure who might be able to answer that best.
I think maybe I might be the better one. I think in Heather's workshop, you'll understand your values and interests, and that will be built into your career plan. But then when it comes time to how do I find a job that's flexible? There's some great resources online. Flex Jobs is one of them. On Indeed, which is my favorite job board, you can actually search for jobs that are remote and find remote positions or part-time positions. So there are some tricks and tips that we both have that may take some of the mystery away of finding that dream job.
For that great question as well. David, I think, why don't you email learn@uvm.edu, and then Charlie can specifically, and if it's not Charlie, it's one of our other peers who work with Charlie, can look and see where you are and what help you might need. So please do shoot us an email at learn@uvm.edu and we'll be able to help you specifically. So I just want to come to a close. We're a little over our half-hour time, but I'm so thankful that you all had wonderful questions and that we had this opportunity to share these free career workshops with everybody. And again, if there's additional questions, please don't hesitate to email us at learn@uvm.edu. I promise there is a live person on the other end, and oftentimes it is Charlie. So you can continue that conversation. And we will send out the recording, and we hope to see all of you in one of our sessions. I'm going to put those dates back up there. August 16th is the first one, and then the subsequent dates all the way into November. So you've got a lot of work to do, hopefully over the next couple of months, to find the right career and get that job that you're looking for. And we wish you all the best. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.